Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting. We're here the first meeting of October. Happy fall. Meetings in progress. Thank you very much. So council, you see before you an agenda. I don't think there's anything outside of the kit. I'm going to call for a motion and thank you, Councillor Lane and Councillor Locke. All in favor? And that motion contraminded, motion's carried. I heard a lot of yays. So with that adopted, I'm going to read now the land acknowledgement to start our meeting. We begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous peoples, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Inuit, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. Council, the minutes from the previous meeting, September 19th, are before you. Before we talk about any business arising, is there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, on motion of Councillor Rice and seconded, thank you, by Councillor Antle. The motion is to adopt the minutes of September 19th. All in favor? Contraminded? And that's carried as well. Thank you. Business arising, council, please note the item number on the action report or the minutes. Moving along. All right, we have two proclamations here this evening. One as it relates to fire prevention, and we have people here for that. Kara's here from the St. John's Regional Fire Department, and we'll also have a proclamation related to Newfoundland and Labrador breastfeeding, which is coming up second on our list today. Kara, do you want to join us for the proclamation? And we've got a little new setup here where we've got a table set up for you to speak. If that would be kind of you, we'll do that at the end of the reading of the proclamation. Sure thing. Whereas the city of Mount Pearl is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our city, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are where people are at greatest risk of fire, and whereas cooking equipment is the leading cause of home structure fires and associated injuries, and are the third leading cause of home fire deaths. And whereas heating and electrical equipment and smoking materials are among the leading causes of reported home fires. And whereas working smoke alarms, they cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half. Whereas the city of Mount Pearl first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire deaths and injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas Mount Pearl residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas the Fire Prevention Week 2023 theme is Cooking Safety Starts With You, Pay Attention to Fire Prevention. This effectively serves to remind us all of the simple actions we can all take to stay safer from fire during Fire Prevention Week and year-round. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues, we do hereby proclaim the week of October 8th to the 14th as Fire Prevention Week, and I urge all people here in the city of Mount Pearl to heed the important safety messages of Fire Prevention Week 2023 and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the St. John's Regional Fire Department's fire and emergency services. I call upon, no, in witness thereof, I do hereby, on behalf of the city, I'll sign that proclamation. I'll date it today, Kara. That's the third day, I believe, of October. We have a week to ramp up. I'm sure you're going to tell us about all the promotional items and activities that are going to be done, because I got to be honest, the city here in Mount Pearl, we are very, very much community minded. And I believe it fits right in with the community mindedness in terms of safety from a fire prevention exercise. And I said to you when we came in, you have a whole bunch of fire trucks, but that's not your department. Could
That's
you
not my
explain?
department. I'm with the Fire Prevention Division. So from my perspective, every week is Fire Prevention Week. However, this is a week that's dedicated for Fire Prevention Week, and we can focus on it a little more. So this year, the theme is, as Mayor Akers said, cooking safety starts with you. Pay attention to fire prevention. The theme for Fire Prevention Week is always based on home fire safety because that's where we're most likely to be injured. And cooking fires are still one of our number one causes of home fires and home fire injuries. So in every couple of years, the National Fire Protection Association, that's the one they'll go with. They'll go with cooking safety. So this year, we're going to focus on that one. We still see a need to focus on cooking safety, and I'm glad they've gone with a theme around it for this year. We see incidents here in Mount Pearl, St. John's, anywhere in the region that we are responsible for. So this year we're kicking off this Saturday, October the 7th, with 3 open houses. One will be at our Paradise Station on Topsail Road. Another one will be at Mount Pearl Station on Olympic Drive. And the other one is at our West Fire Station on Black Marsh Road. The open house is going to run from 2 until 4, and everybody's welcome. Come out with your children, come see the fire truck, see some of the emergency equipment that the firefighters use. We'll have loot bags for the kids and some safety information pamphlets for their moms and dads or whoever they're with, their grandparents. You're never too old to learn about fire safety. We like to teach small kids simply because their brains are little sponges, and then they go home and they teach their parents and their grandparents. So there's a method to the age group we go after. Also next week, we're going to have an information booth set up in the Avalon Mall. So from Tuesday until Saturday, we're in there. Tuesday to Friday will be from 1 until 8:30, and Saturday will be from 10 until 4. And our firefighting crews are also going to do fire drills in every school within our region next week. Everything has been scheduled, so they'll show up with the trucks and monitor the fire drill. And the kids either get really excited or really nervous when they show up. So it's always good. It's fun for the crews when they go to see how well the kids respond to doing their drills. And the last thing, we do have a poster contest that's going to be run next week, and it's based on the theme. So every child in grade 4, 5, and 6 has been sent an invitation through their principal to participate in our poster contest. So when we choose our winner, they will become fire chief for a day, and then we'll be sure to come and visit you when we decide when we're going to have that day. It's always a fun day for us. The child who wins spends the whole day with us. There's a bunch of prizes that the child gets, lunch at McDonald's, and it's a really fun day. So we really look forward to it. And I want to thank you for inviting us to take part in your council meeting today. Much appreciated. And we really appreciate the support that we get from you folks throughout the year, not only during Fire Prevention Week. Thank you.
Councillor Locke. Thank you, Kara. Kara Party with St. John's Region.
Thank you, Mayor. Just curious about you said many of your fires involve cooking. Can you give some insight as to the cause? I know years ago was open fat. People
Typically-
cooking open fat. What about barbecues? Are they part of the fires?
I don't have the exact stats, but we do see some barbecues that catch on fire, and typically they're too close to the house or they're too close to the railing on the deck. A lot of the times when cooking fires start is because people are not paying attention. So it's very important when you're cooking, pay attention. If you're sleepy or if you've consumed some alcoholic beverages or some other substance that may make you sleepy, my best advice, and this is what I tell everybody, have a sandwich or a bowl of cereal, something that you don't have to heat up. If you are going to cook, use a timer to remind you. We're humans. We're forgetful. We're all trying to multitask and do 10 things at the one time, and it's easy enough to forget. So use a timer. I'll set the timer on my stove and the timer on my cell phone because my cell phone's always in my pocket. So I'm bound to hear one of them when the timer goes off. When you're cooking, have the lid for the pot close by so that if it does catch on fire, you can slide the lid over the pot and then just turn off the stove and call us at the fire department at 911 to come and make sure that it has extinguished. Don't ever try and move the pot. If you do, chances are you're going to drop it on the floor and then we have a larger problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here, top of it all. On top of it all, isn't this time of the year when the clocks change?
Yes,
We start to think about batteries and smoke
Yep.
detectors, and that would be your department too, right?
absolutely. And that's coming up the first weekend in November. They made a change there a few years ago, so they bumped it ahead a couple of weeks. When the clocks change in the spring and the fall, it's a good time to remember to change the batteries in your smoke alarms and your carbon monoxide alarms. Without good, fresh working batteries, your smoke alarms are not going to do what they're supposed to do. And that's give you early warning if a fire starts in your residence, especially when you're sleeping. So when it comes time to put your clocks back an hour, which I'm really not looking forward to, but when that day comes, test your smoke alarms and change the batteries in them to make sure that you've got brand new batteries and you know that you're protected. Smoke alarms are also only good for 10 years. So if yours are older than 10 years, it's time to replace them. After 10 years, they may not work the way they're intended to, and they may not give you the protection that they're supposed to in your home.
And have.
I could talk for hours.
Every bedroom, I think is really.
In every single bedroom and anywhere else where people sleep, whether it's a bedroom or if you've converted another room in your house into a bedroom. Anywhere you lie down to have a nap, there should be a smoke alarm close by.
Is this the flag?
This is our banner.
This is the picture.
Absolutely. It's a large banner. It's the picture for this year's theme, so.
No.
Oh,
I think it's upside down, huh?
here's one.
It's a huge flag.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I think we get everybody across.
My camera's so good. There we go. Thank you.
You leave that with us.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. And you too, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you much. You too. Yeah, you too. Thank you.
We're here, Dave.
That's good, Mark. Yeah, I think. No, we got two more coming up, Mark. Mark? Two more coming over there.
What's that?
Behind Nicole's chair.
Sure.
We got two.
Oh, yeah.
other proclamations coming up just in case.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, folks, moving right along. Thanks to Sarah Party with the St. John's Regional Fire Department. Looking forward to that safety message. And I can assure you they will be loud and clear and nicely and aptly targeted towards our youth, right? And I love the way she said it, to teach their parents at the end of the day. So the second proclamation, and none the least important, is National Breastfeeding Week 2023. I remember the first time I got elected to council. I think my very first meeting, we had this proclamation. And I think we've done it every year, in my case, for 14 years, probably a little longer for Councillor Locke. And I'm pleased to welcome Lisa Roberts, as well as Tracy English. Did I get the names right? And they are regional nutritionist and regional lactation consultant in reverse order. Would you folks like to come up as well? So you're with Community Health, which is under Eastern Health or under the Department of Health? I understand there's a lot of change. The most important thing in life is change, right? Well, just bear with me. Yeah, if you would like to position yourself there, and I'll read the proclamation, which is related to Breastfeeding Week, which started on October 1st. So we're already into it. Whereas breastfeeding is recommended for optimal nutrition and healthy growth and development in the early months and years of life, and is fundamental to the well-being and prosperity of communities. And whereas breastfeeding has an impact on lifelong health, with exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months and continued breastfeeding for 2 years and beyond ensures that mothers and children receive maximum health benefits. And whereas breastfeeding is one of the most cost-effective prevention strategies for many infections and chronic and acute diseases, and whereas infant feeding is one of the most important decisions that a new family can make, and whereas parents need the support of their family, friends, government and health authorities, municipalities, community groups and organizations, businesses and their employers. And whereas National Breastfeeding Week provides an opportunity for people to celebrate and to raise public awareness about the importance of breastfeeding and the role everyone can play in normalizing breastfeeding. And whereas the theme for National Breastfeeding Week 2023 is enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. This theme focuses on the impact of paid leave and workplace support on the duration of breastfeeding and the positive impacts for parents, children, and their families. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues, we do hereby proclaim October 1st to the 7th of 2023 as Breastfeeding Week here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and also here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I'm pleased to bring you both into our chamber today, and our council welcomes you. The mother, through lactation, provides quite the immune system protection as well for children when they're younger. Folks, you want to elaborate on your breastfeeding week? And there's an emphasis on the employer, I notice here. So
Yeah. So our theme, it actually comes from a global group, and whereas Canada's a little bit different, we do have paid maternity leave. So we're not quite the same as other countries. So what we're focusing more on is the continued support. And I mean, how many years have we been here? I'm going to guess maybe it's about 15 or so. So the continued support of municipalities is a really big factor in that warm chain of support that's so important to families. So we know that mothers or families who feel supported in breastfeeding go on to breastfeed longer. We know one of our biggest challenges is breastfeeding duration. So while our initiation rates we do pretty good in terms, we could do better, but it's our duration rates where we have trouble. So again, so the support piece is so crucial. And we have a very good partnership with the city of Mount Pearl. We have a breastfeeding support group at the Reed Center that's been there for a number of years. And it's one of our most popular groups. It's a lovely facility. It's families like it because it's not in one of our facilities. It's not clinical, and we don't want it to be. We want it to be like community. Because we don't want to medicalize breastfeeding and make it like hospital-based and whatever. So again, we thank you for letting us be here, and we'll be back next year. I was saying to Tracy if she could remember, because Tracy and I've done this together. We do the roadshow every year, but we had your grandchild here, Councillor Locke, one year. Yeah, that was lovely. Yeah. So
the duration targets you're setting doesn't always line up with the maternity benefit targets that we see society with leave and like that.
Not so much in Canada, because Canada, we get the 12 months paid maternity leave, whereas in a lot of other countries, like for example, our neighbors to the south, they get 3 months maternity leave. So with the goal of 6 months exclusive, although the issue we have is that we don't see the duration, like we say if we get around an 80% initiation rate in our area, by the time we get to 6 months, which is the target, we're down to about 21, 22%.
So has the like when I mentioned earlier on, I've been lucky to be in this chamber and witness this proclamation for 14 years, but that was the big issue at the time when I first saw this proclamation, was that in Newfoundland and Labrador, the initiation rate was really, really low compared to the national average. Does it come up a bit?
It's come up, and it's come up across the country as well. We're pretty good. We can always do better, but again, we struggle with our initiation rates, as everybody across the country does as well. But we're doing better, and we did we had expected with COVID that our rates were really going to decline, but we did pretty good through COVID. Yeah.
She covered it all. Council, any questions for Councillor Lane, please?
I guess I had more of a comment than a question. Because I have a 10-month-old little boy. Well, I'm still breastfeeding. But I think that it's very important that the theme is on workplaces right now because there's still a lot of barriers there when it comes to mothers who return to work. I returned to work when my son was only 4 months old. But I didn't want to stop breastfeeding. Because I felt like there's two benefits to that. And I've gotten so much support here at the city. Like they've even set up a room for me to use for pumping during meetings, which has been fantastic. But as a substitute teacher, it wasn't as easy to navigate because I've been going to different schools all the time. And I wasn't comfortable going to administration that I didn't know and saying, hey, I have a baby at home that I breastfeed and I need time to pump or I need a space to pump. And some schools that I've been to and I've approached, like the only space they could offer me was a bathroom. And like, that's gross, right? So I would end up pumping in my car. So I think we still have a long way to go to get where we need to be to support mothers who are returning to work early because it's tough financial times and you see people returning to work earlier. And it sucks that for a lot of people, that might be the straw that breaks the camel back. And they're like, I can't continue to breastfeed because there's too many barriers in the way now. So I'm lucky that I'm strong at 10 months and I'm hoping to continue on until 12 months with my son. But I think that it's so important that we bring awareness to this because there's a lot of barriers that prevent mothers from continuing to breastfeed. So I would imagine that contributes to why we're about the 21%.
Yeah, and so glad you shared that story. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to contact you and just talk to you about those things at another time. Because we had, like, when we think about like some barriers in some particular occupations, we know like our physicians, our residents, they have a difficult time because they don't have any maternity leave at all. We found like lawyers, anybody self-employed, whatever, they have to go right back to work and it. Yeah, and I didn't think about teachers. That's a really good point. Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Locke.
Thank you again for coming in. I know, it's becoming, more the norm, I think, anecdotally for me, in terms of my sons now and their friends, and, they're very open at birthday parties for breastfeeding. So, which is nice to see. Now, my wife breastfed, 30 odd years ago, and it wasn't as common back then. And I know, for example, like my father-in-law and my father, they would always be respectful but they would leave the room. They would feel they had to leave the room. But nowadays I find it's a little more open and the mothers, which is nice to see, is a little more comfortable. But just recently I was traveling and I noticed that some of the airports that they have dedicated breastfeeding pods.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't inside to see what it was, but they weren't small. They were what I would deem, spacious and comfortable. So I think it's measures like that, the supports, like Councillor Lane said, the more supports you put out there, I think the longer the duration rates will be. And I know we at the city we pride ourselves in striving to be inclusive, and this is certainly something that we'll look at as well as we look around the city. And who knows, maybe that's something we can look at, putting some of these pods in these public places, like at the Summit Center or the Reed Community Center or at our Glacier Arenas or what have you. But I think it's wonderful, and I do appreciate you guys coming in. This is my 16th year, and I think you guys have been in every year. So I look forward to seeing you back next year. Thank you.
Thank you. And if we could follow up, if there's somebody I could meet with or we could meet with, we'd love to partner with you guys on something, some of the ideas you just mentioned.
Sure.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
We'll arrange
Yeah.
for one of our directors to follow up, likely where it's all encompassing. It's either about facilities or it's about program delivery. So either I'm going to say Councillor, but Director Antle or Director Pittman. So thank you very much.
Okay,
Can
wonderful.
we get a picture?
Yes, we sure can.
She's gonna make you take one too, though. On her camera too.
Why not? I forgot about a big gun. Before that. Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
Planning, Engineering, Development Committee report, Counselor Rice, please.
Thank you, worship. So we'll move right along here now. So the Planning, Engineering and Development Committee recommends that the building permits issued for this pay period showing a total construction value of $1,147,413 be approved. Just a little bit of information as well. Due to upgrading of the permits process, which is now complete, there were a number of permits that were not previously entered. So all listings are now entered to date. I'm not going to repeat them all, but you can see quite a number there in your kit. It's been a pretty busy July and August month. And also our commercial development there as well, totaling $109,300. And on the bottom, you will see also our building permits and occupancy permit listing for this pay period as well, showing 5 in our kit. And I so move.
It is moved by Counselor Rice, and thank you, seconded by Counselor Antle. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contraminded? Carried, thanks.
Thank you. For information purposes only, this is a capital project update for our city. Birch Avenue upgrades, construction has started with an estimated completion date of mid-November 2023. Roosevelt Avenue upgrades, the underground replacement underway, estimated to be completed sometime in October. Farrell Drive, Holden Street to Evans Place is pretty busy. Undergoing replacement is underway up there in that area, and seasonal suspension of work November 2023, and that will resume in 2024, the spring season. Olympic Drive resurfacing, including sidewalk and curb replacement. Work to start October 2023. And asphalt and concrete maintenance hole repairs ongoing with an estimated completion date of October the 15th, 2023. And that's it for our committee report, Your Worship.
Just a clarification, Counselor, you moved the building permits, which was residential and commercial.
Yep.
All good. But there's also occupancy permits there. I think we should probably
Okay,
put that on the
backtrack on
table,
that
if you
one.
don't mind. Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so the occupancy permit listing, part 1 from July the 13th till September the 22nd, 2023. Totaling period of $109,300, and the total to date is $7,063,703, and I so move.
Thank you. That was just for the record, but moved by Counselor Rice and again seconded by Counselor Antle. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? Carried. And that's the end of the report. Thank you so much, sir. We're going to move over to Recreation and Community Safety Committee report. Counselor Antle, please.
Worship, I'll have two here, then I'll pass on to my colleague, Councillor Lane. First one is our Fall Craft Fair. Fall is here and we're alive and well. The city's annual Fall Fair will take place on Monday, Thanksgiving Monday, on October the 9th at the Reed Centre from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Everything in this Fall Fair is 100% handmade by people in our community. Vendors showcase crafts, fall-inspired decor, and delicious homemade treats. That sounds so good. Admission is $2 per person. Children under 12 are free. For more information, you can contact Rosie Stead, and that's all on our website, and you can find it there. Also on October the 13th, Friday the 13th, which is really good. We have a movie. It's a drive-in movie. And the location is at Team Guju Complex, just off Smallwood Drive. And this year's Halloween feature is Disney's The Haunted Mansion. It sounds really great. A drive-in movie and The Haunted Mansion. You can bring your family, your blankets, and your snacks and curl up in your vehicle for a great evening. And that sounds fabulous. And that's everything for me, Your Worship. And I'll pass it on to my colleague, Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of events happening here at the city in the upcoming month or so, which is very exciting. The third item on our agenda is the Haunted Walk, which will be happening October 20th to the 29th, 2023. So this is a brand new feature in the city, and I think it's gonna be very exciting. Would you like to embark on a spooky adventure? The city invites you to join our moonlit walk around Powers Pond. The walk will commence at the boathouse entrance from 6 to 9 p.m. daily. from October 20th to October 29th. The admission is a donation to the food bank. Join us for a fun, spooky, and safe night. All details will be posted on social media in the coming days. So this will be a first for us, but it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I already know, some of the features that'll be in place for that. And it's going to be both spooky and also exciting. So definitely keep an eye to our social media. You're not going to want to miss this. Number 4 is the 31st annual Christmas at the Glacier. For the information of public, the 31st annual Christmas at the Glacier, a 5-day festival of craft and art, will take place at the Glacier Arena from October 18th to the 22nd, 2023. And this is another event which I absolutely love. I've been going to this, I think, every year since I was probably, 7, 8 years old. It's been that long, has it been around that long? I don't know. I was quite young. But it's definitely one that you're not going to miss. It ties in a lot of fall crafts, but also Christmas. So if you're like me and you cannot wait for Santa to come, then this is an event for you. That's it for us. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Now we'll turn to the Corporate Services and Public Works Report. Councillor Locke, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I was expecting Councillor Lane to end with "see you at the show." That's what I was sort of expecting there, but I heard it in my head anyways, Councillor Lane. Thank you, Mayor. The first item for our committee is the invoices for approval. We're recommending, as you can see in our kit there, there's 7 items on our invoices for approval this week, and they total $821,663.85. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Locke. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Antle. Any questions on those large invoices? Pretty much a regional services type invoices for approval. I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? And that motion's carried.
Thank you, Mayor. I was expecting Councillor Antle to jump in because he usually highlights, but you can see, as you said, regionally, our water consumption for August 2023 came in at almost $230,000. And the city's share of the St. John's Regional Fire Department for September of 2023 came in at just over $460,000. So, as you said, pretty big in invoices, but we certainly pay our part for the regional services. The next item for us, Mayor, is the payment register for September the 14th to the 28th of 2023. And this register totaled $442,910.88. And this is for information purposes. They're all listed there. And if anyone has any questions, we'll certainly be happy to answer those. None. Our third item is tax deferral for low-income earners. Our committee is recommending approval of the following tax deferral in accordance with city's council's policy, for low-income earners. You can see that there are 2 accounts there. One is for $1,536.30. The second is for $2,427.81. And again, this is in accordance with the council's policy for low-income earners, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Locke. Thank you, Councillor Antle, and that is seconded by him. Any questions? Councillor Antle.
Just for the benefit of anybody who's watching, how does a resident take advantage of this tax deferral? How would they do that?
I would think Corporate Services is the contact. Director Pittman.
Sorry, the tax deferral process is an application-based process, so it would come in through finance for the application, and we would assess it. So it depends on, from a commercial perspective, fulfilling the requirements of our process. And for residents, for tax deferral, it just depends on the financial situation, if they're in receipt of what we would deem financial hardship.
So for financial hardship, would they just bring their tax return, or is it low income, or how is that deemed? Do we have that? Is it on our website to get that information?
So it is, you typically have to provide your tax return. So we go through their guaranteed income supplement if you're in receipt of that, similarly to our seniors discount. 20% seniors discount for guaranteed recipients of the guaranteed income supplement. So it's similar to that process, but it is application based and there has to be demonstration of financial hardship. However, I will say in many cases, our preference is to work with the resident or business on a payment plan as opposed to move into a tax deferral. So that makes sense.
Yeah, the low income is not a write-off in any sense of any taxation. It's an idea that basically if you got low income, you can justify it with your tax returns. We'll work with you either in deferring, but obviously a payment plan lands you in a better place in the longer run. I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion for the tax deferral, low income earners, all in favor? Contrary-minded, carried.
Thank you, Mayor. The fourth item for our committee is a request for professional development from our Director of Corporate Services to attend the CPA Public Sector Conference being held in Ottawa from October 17th to the 18th of 2023. And this is in accordance with our professional development policy, and I so move.
Moved again by Councillor Locke. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Locke, second by Councillor Rantle. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor. The last item for our committee is for information, and it's the Public Works status report. I know Councillor Rice mentioned earlier all the capital works projects that are ongoing around the city. In terms of roads, work continues with our service holes, catch basins and curbs. Lawn repairs are being looked at and completed as they come in. I think most of them now, Director Donovan, would be done around the city. We're continuing with our cleaning of our streets and sidewalks with our sweeping. Any asphalt repairs are ongoing. And of course, our household garbage collection with our recycling and our bulk garbage program continues. With respect to our parks, the new trail rules signage is continuing to be installed along the T Railway. Phase 2 of our urban forestry plan continues. I think I did see some new trees up around the Reed Center as well. And again, the compliments that we've received on those have been abundant. So it's great to see. We continue with our trail trimming throughout the city. I know some of my colleagues while I was away had a nice shot at the Team Guju baseball field in preparation of the 2025 Summer Games with the clay that's being laid down there. And I know there was some sort of professional development or in-servicing last week, I think, for, the specs on that. I mean, it is to national standards. So I know several of our staff were down and learned from the process, which was good to see. We have our continued maintenance on our landscaping beds, our hanging baskets, sports fields, playgrounds, trails, open spaces. In terms of our fleet, as always, our servicing and maintenance is ongoing no matter what the season, but service work on our snow blowers, loaders, and flyers is underway as we prepare for the upcoming winter season. Our utilities maintenance, our general calls continue for plug sewers, location of service, dobies and the like, new water and sewer service inspections, camera inspections, and any troubleshooting. As well, our hydrant flushing and valve exercise program is ongoing. It is starting to wind down. Our hydrant repairs and painting is ongoing as well. As always, we continue with our leak detection throughout the city to help, reduce our water consumption. We continue with our catch basin cleaning, storm sewer jetting, any repairs to water and sewer, and of course, the inspection and maintenance of our lift stations throughout the city. And the last one for us there, Mayor, you can see the data or the table for water levels at Bay Bulls Big Pond as of September 25th, 2023. Yes, and you can see again that 2023 is higher than the last 3 graphs or line graphs on that particular item there, and we're at about 34 feet. So it seems that we're in a good level for our water supply. And that is it for our committee, Mayor. I thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you, everybody who served on committees this past 2 years. And at the end of the meeting, I'll wrap up some changes, not so much in the committee structure, but the composition. But for the roundtable tonight, we're going to be in with Councillor Rice, please.
Thank you, Worship. I got 4 items there to be very quick and brief. So the first one I got here is I just want to say a big congratulations to Mount Pearl's Jordan Flynn, Caden Shazpaul, and also we had three guys from Southlands, Brandon Philpott, Max Shepard, and Reed Chafe. They have been selected for the Team NL to play at the Quebec Major Junior League Cup. Very prestige for those guys to play. So good luck to them guys. Also, I want to say congratulations to Ben Kent on being invited to join Milwaukee Brewers under-14 Classic team for the Arizona Classic tournament later this month. Congratulations, Ben. I just want to say we have a pretty busy schedule coming up this weekend with our October and Rocktoberfest. So our Oktoberfest is October the 6th at the Reed Center from 7 to 10. And we have the beer, craft beer extravaganza and Oktoberfest. Beer sampling, live music by the Holidays and Quote the Raven. And food trucks are there as well. And on Saturday night, which is on the 7th, we have live music there with Bic and the Ballpoints, Sugar, and also there's going to be food trucks there as well. So dress up in your finest, Arvarian attire, and enter the best dress costume for a chance to win exciting prizes. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Good stuff. October's upon us. Over to you, Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple for me. So the next Mount Pearl Community Supper will be happening October 11th. With pickup between 5 to 6 p.m. And this will be their Thanksgiving meal. So it's going to be a roast pork dinner with mashed potatoes, veggies, dinner roll, and dessert. And this can be picked up at the Church of the Good Shepherd. So for anyone in need, I encourage you to go pick up a hot Thanksgiving meal. And the other item for me this evening is I wanted to give a shout out to some of the O'Donnell High staff who participated in the turkey tea race the weekend. So Miss Sandy Porter, she ranked 3rd in her age group. Then there was O'Donnell alumni Brady Lawler, who placed 1st in his age group, and O'Donnell principal Mr. Sheldon Marsh, who placed 1st in his age group and ran a personal best. So a huge congratulations to them. I was sitting in my living room looking at the window at all the people running by, and I said, maybe one of these days I'll be in good enough shape that I'll be able to participate in something like that, but you never know. And that's it for me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Locke, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item here, and it has to do with our upcoming budget process. Planning has begun to inform the budget 2024, and we want to hear from our residents. So starting this week, we will be conducting public engagement to learn more about what our residents want to see for next year's budget. So I'm sure they're at home wondering, how do we get involved? Well, there's two ways. We have an online survey. So if you visit our website, the city's website, you'll have an opportunity to complete a survey there. As well, starting next week, we will have 2 budget 2024 booths set up, one here at City Hall and the other at the Summit Center, where residents can drop by, and there's a little interactive activity there. I'm holding a little City of Mount Pearl chip here, right here. And my understanding is any resident that comes up will be given 3 of these chips, and they get to decide where they would spend their chip, what service they would like to see, which I think will sort of give some insight into the difficulties that I and my council colleagues have every year around the table. It's all about priorities. There's only so much money going around. So we welcome this feedback from our residents and our business community as well. And that certainly will help inform our budget discussions, because again, we develop a budget for our residents and our business community as well. So any input will be welcome. So again, just a reminder that they can get online on our city website to do an online survey, or visit one of the 2 booths next week at City Hall or the Summit Center. And again, any input is welcome and will certainly help us in our budget deliberations. And that's it for me, Mayor. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd like to ask a question in that regard. That sounds like it's open to just residents, but really it's not. So I'd ask the corporate services folks, Director Pittman, reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, because businesses and other groups can participate in that as well, right? Because the budget items affect them as well. So I'm thinking especially businesses, and we'd appreciate their feedback about the process, but it's really, it's simple. It's timely. You don't have to spend a lot of time there, but on the other hand, you do, as Councillor Locke said, you face some of the challenges we have in trying to balance the budget, because, staff want to spend money on everything and council only wants to spend money on the important things. And I'm only kidding at the end of the day, but it's really difficult with all the pressures any municipality faces. Dan Iverson, who's the former mayor of Edmonton, always said municipalities are always a work in progress. There's always something to be done. And you can only spend 3 chips. And that's really what it boils down to. You might want to spend 10, but if you got 3 chips, you get your 3 chips, come up to the summit, come to City Hall, and we appreciate your feedback. Thank you. Councillor Antle, please.
And I just have one question on that. I think that's a great idea, like those 3 chips. Is there any way we can get it at the Glacier also? Because the Glacier is so busy on Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, I'm up there with hockey and there's so many people there.
So our intent, and we've been working with Director Collins on figuring out how we do that at the Glacier. So we're just going to look at the events happening at the Glacier because we have to have it staffed. So we just want to align having staff present or box office staff present to facilitate that. So I can't commit to the schedule yet, but our intent is to move it to the Glacier at some point in the engagement process.
Thank you. I only got one thing to talk about, and I talked about it last spring. I'll talk about it again. Is our trails. We have one of the best trails, I think, in Canada. They're world class. But our trails are shared trails. And the big thing about our trails is, they're shared, and the key is be respectful. If everybody's respectful on the trail, pedestrians, bikers, joggers, dog walkers can get along and get along well. Dog walkers, pick up after your dog. It's the easy thing to do. We supply the bags. They're everywhere. We talk about it in the spring, but at the fall of the year, the trees are coming, leaves are going off. And, you can see sometimes some dog feces on the trail. Just pick up after your dog. Bikers, use your bells. Walkers, joggers, be careful. But we have great trails. We all like our trails, and respect is key. And that's everything from me, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. That's going to conclude the roundtable. I'm going to finish the meeting, folks. We're just going to talk a little bit about committees, but I want to thank everybody for their service the last 2 years. And as is our custom, we will change committees now for the next 2 years. So running from October of 23 to September of 25, the new committees. And again, the committees themselves haven't changed. The composition is changing. But on the Planning, Engineering, Development Committee, which aligns with the responsibilities of Director Antle, we have Deputy Mayor Kiley, along with Councillor Antle, and the third or the alternate on the committee is Councillor Rice. Corporate Services and Public Works, which aligns with the responsibilities of Director Pittman and, of course, Director Dallamont. We have Councillor Rice, along with Councillor Lane, and Councillor Locke is the alternate. And the final committee, not the least of which, is the Recreation Community Safety Committee. We have on that committee, which aligns with Director Collins, we have Councillor Locke and we have Councillor Fry. And the third or the alternate on that committee is Councillor Lane. So there you have it, folks. And we assume our new responsibilities within council effective tomorrow. So thanks very much. And on that, I'll have the meeting adjourned with your approval. And it's moved by Councillor Rice, second by Councillor Lane. We are adjourned. Thank you.